Welcome, everybody, to Sunday Brunch. I am Chris Parrish, alongside with two different people that you probably have not seen on Sunday Brunch before. Actually, I can honestly say that for sure. So, yeah, let's get right to it. I'm going to introduce the guys, but to my bottom right here, we got Lawrence. Lawrence, welcome to Sunday Brunch.
Good to be here. I'm very excited to talk about this week in wrestling.
Yeah, very happy to. And to this side, finally got it right. I'm very happy about it. We got Ecto Guy. Ecto Guy, introduce yourself to the mass.
Good morning. I am Ecto Guy, a.k.a. Alex, a.k.a. The Nerd in Indiana, or at least around here. Just ready to talk some wrestling.
Yes, and you know who also is glad that you're here, also saying hi all the way from Deutschland. It is Sandy. Sandy, thank you so much for being a part. Coming in a heavy with the comments already. I am just going to flat them out. I believe I also have my own graphic, so we don't need to see Spencer's mug on here. He ain't here. But first off, also want to give a shout out to RK Athletics, our sponsor, which is right to the side that's not the delicious side of Lawrence with the bacon and the eggs and all that stuff, but over to the other side. They are one of our sponsors. Thank you so much, RK Athletics. If by chance you need to go to a gym or you want to get more educated in the fitness world, go check out my boy Rich King, as he knows just about as much as anybody else, and he has one of the best physiques in pro wrestling, in my opinion, in the ring. Sandy, thank you. Except also, probably nobody wants to see that. I am not a good-looking guy. Anyway, there we go. That's the winning one right there. So kicking off, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. We just saw Matt Cardona become the new GCW champion with one hell of a match against Nick Gage. What did you guys think about this? Let's start heavy. Let's start it. I'll go with Lawrence, because what did you think about this match and your takeaways, and how do you feel about it?
Oh, I really enjoyed that match. From top to bottom, the story was really well told. I mean, you've got a perfect heel and perfect vice for Matt Cardona, for Nick Gage. And from the very beginning, both entrances were amazing. Like Nick Cage's entrance, I just started watching after the Nick Cage documentary, I started watching GCW, and his entrance and AJ Gray's entrance are like two of the best I've seen. And from there on, they both told a really great story. I think it was really smart putting the belt on Matt Cardona because you can tell this story longer. He's going to be the perfect vice, and he's going to bring more people to it because more people are watching GCW, which is great for every other wrestler on the card. We're getting their name out there. So everything was absolutely if you're not a deathmatch person, it is hard to watch at times. But once you get used to the light tube violence, it's truly a fun story they're telling.
Yeah, and Alex, do you want to be called Alex or do you want to be called Ecto Guy? What is your preference?
Alex is fine. Alex is all right.
All right. Your thoughts about this match? I know we were talking a little bit off screen about how this can change the perception of Matt Cardona moving forward. Can you give us kind of your thoughts about this? Because I do think this is a step in the right direction for Matt Cardona.
Yeah. I'll be very honest. I have been following Matt Cardona for a long time. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his podcast. Fan of him as he was in the E. But the sad part is I never really knew who Nick Gage was until I started watching kind of their stuff on Cardona's podcast and programming. So me getting introduced to him and to his character and to who he is, this was a very good way for somebody like me to see what Nick Gage was, and especially with him popping up on AEW now. Now I'm like, okay, so we're going to see him a little bit more often. Awesome. As far as perception, this is going to be so good for Matt Cardona as being a heel, definitely to this company, helping him and elevating him to a place he's never been before.
Yeah, and you talk about introducing us as Pat McCauley. Greetings, salutation, happy Sunday, guys. Along with the natural Astrid coming in, also saying props to Matt for doing the match, and Sandy just cheering. Such a positive soul, Sandy is. And then Sandy also saying, "I'm a Cardona rider, OG fan. Woo woo woo. You know it, bro." But with that being said. I actually own that T-shirt, and I actually hate to admit that, but I do. He once followed me on Twitter because I think he was doing if you bought my song and showed me a picture, I'll follow you. So I took a really bad screenshot of somebody else sending him one, and he followed me, and then I think he realized it was fake and unfollowed me. But Ed hopping in, appreciate you, Ed, coming in, and then also. Pat Cardona winning the GCW title has me now thinking when Punk and Danielson premiere that Cardona will be with them. Perish. This is throwback, by the way. Yes, I know. I just also trying to say the name. It's fun. Good Irish name. You got throwback with the Macaulay. I know my stuff somewhat. But yeah, no, kind of touching back with Cardona. I agree with both of you in the sense that Lawrence, you're talking about the hardcore deathmatch style, not exactly everybody's niche. However, I thought Cardona really took a step forward. And I think in the world of wrestling, you kind of man up when you have one of these kind of matches, especially if you're not perceived to be a hardcore wrestler or a deathmatch type guy. You kind of have that extra man card necessary, or the thing you're kind of just taking a little bit more serious now that you can do this kind of stuff. And with Matt Cardona now, maybe more promoters will take him more seriously now that he's able to do kind of this stuff. He's not just that stupid Jersey Shore gimmick that WWE kind of had him make out to be. We know he's entertaining, we know he has all that other things that you want, but can he actually go in this style? I think he proved it last night against Nick Gage. Nick Gage is also appearing on AEW. What do we think of Nick Gage right now? Because he is kind of that hot new thing in pro wrestling. I'll start with you, Alex.
Yeah, definitely. he's got a lot of eyes on him in GCW, and that's going to be good for wherever he goes. The announcement last week that he was going to be the second trial for Jericho is going to make people want to see that match, and just to see how far they're going to be able to go on live TV with that, with Gage's signature deathmatch style. Like, is Jericho going to kind of follow suit as the Painmaker, or are they going to do something a little more safer than that?
Yeah, Lawrence, we'll get your take on this, and that's something that we actually didn't even talk about yesterday with the return of the Painmaker. What do you think about the Painmaker versus Nick Gage, and how do you view Nick Gage now that he's kind of getting his big break, we'll say, in the really the mainstream pro wrestling market?
I love it. Like, it's a guy on every conceivable level shouldn't be there. Like, he has gone through tribulation after tribulation to be on a major television show and be trusted with their biggest star. It's going to be such a big match for him. Win or lose, it doesn't matter if he loses, because he's going to have a great match. His name is going to get out there more, and because and it's great for independent wrestling as a whole. It's really cool what AEW is doing there. Is so many people are going to get more eyes on them because of this. There's no losing in this situation. I think the Painmaker is a cool idea to bring him back from people who watched Jericho's New Japan days, which, again, also Jericho going to New Japan brought people to New Japan. I've known people who started watching after that. So it's a win-win on all sides, and I'm sure it's going to be just an absolute banger of a match.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting, because it seems like Jericho lately has been elevating a lot of talents, putting them on the map, so to speak. Especially in AEW. And you talk about guys that shouldn't be there. I feel AEW is kind of the land of a lot of guys that nobody really thought was ever going to be there. If you want to talk about maybe the Sammy Guevara's, you never really thought he was going to be a mainstay. You didn't think maybe Darby Allin was going to be one of those guys. Pineapple Express, Jurassic, or all those guys,
yeah.
Whatever you want to call them. But Jungle Boy, these guys have amazing talents. They're getting this platform to shine. And that's really what it's all about, I feel, in professional wrestling right now. What do you guys think about, before we get that, Darnell coming in the chat, saying hi. Hello, Darnell. Thank you for joining us. And if the chat has anything that they want us to, just kind of touch on, any opinions about Nick Gage, or even guys that maybe we never thought would be there. I think that's a really interesting topic that we're kind of just improvising with right now. Who are guys, in your opinions, that you don't expect to be there, but have been there and done a good job with it? Lawrence, I'll start with you on this one, because I really like this kind of topic that we kind of just stumbled upon.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I honestly, off the top of my head, Eddie Kingston, the newest one, he is a guy who's been working his ass off for years. Doesn't have the traditional look that people talk about of a professional wrestler, but is just the most engaging. You feel the passion every time he gives a promo, and you feel the love for wrestling and how much he'll die for this. Just another guy that people didn't expect to break through, and just through sheer will, hard work, made it through a top show, and is now a top star on AEW.
Yeah, Darnell coming in, correcting me with Pineapple Pete. Yes, I know, I effed up, but also agreeing with you on the Eddie Kingston. Just want to touch with Ed. The only thing that is Gage should be Labor 5, not Labor 2. Sure. And then throwback, or Pat, as he wants to be called right now. Would you say Nick Cage is this generation's Mick Foley? It's a fair comparison. I guess, yeah. And that's who I was gonna pick.
Yeah.
But Alex, I'll go to you. Who is somebody that maybe, in your opinion, was quote unquote a guy that shouldn't have gotten there, but ended up becoming one of the a guy who do you put in?
My eyes have definitely been on Darby Allin. He's been, just the size of this guy, you wouldn't think that he would be 100 pounds soaking wet, but yet he's caught the eyes and the hearts of anybody that tunes in and sees him. Like, just the style that he has and the bumps he'll take, are just enough to make you say, Jesus, I want to know where this guy's going to go. And he's definitely gone places. He's been the TNT champion, and he's been doing a lot of things with Sting, which, again, you wouldn't think that you would see somebody like him, especially the way he perceives himself, with a guy like Sting. This icon coming in. You would think that they would stick him with anybody else, but no, they put him with Darby, and it's just been a hell of a ride so far. And I'd love to see where he's going to go next.
Yeah, and I know this is a topic, and we can come back to it, but I also have a wicked transition that I'm going to hit you guys with. One of the guys who I thought that I always liked, and I'm like, he has a skill, he has everything you want, he has the promo, he did it, like he did the hardcore style in Ring of Honor. But I'm going to say a guy like CM Punk never really should have made it. Ended up actually making it, had all the fences put up against him, and despite it, became one of the top draws in professional wrestling, especially with his promo that he did in Vegas. I'm using this as a transition because the rumors are huge right now in regards to him coming out. I don't want to say coming out of retirement. He never really fully retired from pro wrestling, but returning to the ring. Sources say that he's coming to AEW alongside Bryan Danielson. What are your guys' opinions? I know we've talked on other shows before, but this is a buzzworthy topic. It is breaking the internet. What are your thoughts about a potential CM Punk and Bryan Danielson in AEW?
Oh, I think it's big. Like, as far as CM Punk, I think like some of the heat might have come off in the last few years. Of like, had this happened like 3 years ago, it would have been the biggest. It's still really big. There's no doubt, and I'd still love to see what they're going to do with him creatively, especially with them getting a second show on TV soon, and they'll be able to highlight more of the guys. I'm excited to see what Daniel Bryan's going to do there. Like, clearly he wants to finish out his career in AEW and wrestle like the guys he hasn't had a chance to. So like, creatively, it's great for both of them, and I'm excited for the opportunities to see what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You definitely let's just all agree that it doesn't matter where these guys go next. It would be big news. Like, they could have went back to Ring of Honor and it just been mind blowing. But to see them go to AEW, it opens so many doors to matches we can see, and to so many things that we are definitely gonna see. Like, these two can definitely help elevate the talent, such as like Sting and Jericho have done already. There's, like I said, so many doors, so many dream matches that can happen as well. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I agree, and I think this kind of stems into an issue. Like, is AEW the place that they should be going to? Because I know personally, I would not want to see either one of them in AEW. The reason is, I would like AEW to highlight some of the guys that maybe they have forgotten that are in their company a little bit more. Like maybe the Pox, the Death Triangle. Maybe, just maybe, you can look at an Adam Page and give him that really time. I know they're starting to do it more now, but I mean, give him real spotlight. You have a wicked tag division. You have an amazing amount of tag team in your company. Give them a little bit of a shout out. Make that tag title a little bit more. Give the women's championship a little bit more emphasis. Stop using other companies' titles to make them perceived to be more than yours. FTR, a big one that I love. I would love to have seen Daniel Bryan in NXT. I believe he is a guy that should be passing off knowledge to the next generation. I would love to see him against the Adam Coles of the world, the Johnny Garganos of the world, the Tommaso Ciampas of the world, the Timothy Thatchers of the world, the Pete Dunnes of the world. I think that's a dream match for a lot of guys, even Walter. And with CM Punk, I mean, if WWE is not the place that is the most shock and awe with CM Punk, I don't know what would be. But what are your guys' thoughts? Where would your ideally destinations be for these two guys?
I mean, you make a great point about NXT. I think like CM Punk, I think it was, in the end of the day, there was too much like water under that. Like there was too much there for him to get over, for both sides to get over, for them to work a contract to go back to WWE. Like, I do like the idea of Daniel Bryan going to AEW, because like he's been talking about working with the Bucks and working with Omega and work like with some of the younger talent there. Like it no matter what way they saw it, and also like AEW gives you the opportunity, because of how things are working now, he can show up in TNA, he can show up in other promotions and like do an indie date and work with like the hot talent there. So there's still that opportunity for him to work with younger talent and like the big stars. Whereas if he just went back to NXT, you just have that certain pool, which also do owe a great debt, because Daniel Bryan, his career helped pave the way for all the for like guys like Gargano and Ciampa. And they owe like a great debt of gratitude, because that busted the door for guys his size in WWE to be the biggest stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would have liked to see him go to NXT too, but like I think AEW gives him the most opportunity with his career winding down, and I could see him once he's done in AEW to go back to NXT, because I don't think there's any burnt bridges there at all. I don't think there are any hard feelings. I think he'd go back as NXT and become a coach eventually.
Yeah, and Alex, before we get to you, Sandy, with a couple comments in the chat, CM Punk first has to show me he can still wrestle. I mean, I think that's always the case in point for anyone. And also saying the internet is going to break when Cult of Personality hits. I mean, well, who wouldn't pop for that? I mean, to be honest. And then CM Punk first has to show up. Enough said. And then Sandy's saying you should go to Ring of Honor. Alex, we'll get to you now. Where would your ideally destinations be for both CM Punk and Bryan Danielson?
Wherever they go, I'm kind of the opposite of you guys. I think they should stay away from anything WWE or even NXT, and it's not because there's a grudge, for seeing what they've done with them. It's just you've done so much with them, and where can they take them now? I mean, realistically, it's kind of like the Edge situation. What are they going to do with Edge now? We're gonna have great matches with like Seth Rollins in the future, and whoever else they put Edge against. But what can they do with them, and what can they give back? I mean, even putting them as trainers for NXT, there's only so much talent you're going to touch base with in NXT. If they're in AEW, or if they're on the Independents or in Impact or Ring of Honor, they can hit a wider array of talent to pass along their knowledge. And I think with AEW, it would probably be the better place for them to be, because they can still be the top stars that we all know they can be, but they can show a lot of the talent that they have, how and where to go with their characters and themselves in wrestling. There's a lot they can teach, both in ring and on the mic.
Ed popping in with, I think, my pop of the day. CM Punk to his couch, Danielson to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then Sandy coming in. Wherever CM Punk goes, I'll follow him since day one. It's true. Like I think CM Punk is a polarizing figure in professional wrestling. You either love him or you hate him. I think it's pretty honest to say that. My only thing in response to maybe you saying like anything but WWE is I would love to see some big names going back to WWE that aren't a Bill Goldberg, or like when I last saw like a Legends Night in WWE, I'm seeing like Alicia Fox in there. Like I would love to see them make amends with some of the female talent, like a Mickie James, eventually like Jazz, Molly Holly, Jacqueline, like a lot of the big names from that Attitude Era. Trish, Lita, like these are the stars of that division. But like Alicia Fox, like what? Like that's a legend now. Like
yeah.
And it's one of those things where I understand the appeal to leave WWE to go to an AEW, to go to a New Japan Pro Wrestling, to go to a Ring of Honor, an Impact, places like this where, you can roam. Nothing's more fun now to roam the independents in pro wrestling right now, just because there's a lot of variety, there's a lot of options, there's a lot more freedom. And I think that's what a lot of wrestlers just want, is freedom. But with that being said, it's one of those things where if you want to make money and get that platform, WWE is still that place to be. Like, there's no bigger platform, even today's landscape of things, than WWE. It's just regardless of how do you want to work, because we do know that it's a different style of, let's just say, how companies ran when you're going WWE to AEW. It's just night and day from AEW in there. You got freedom. You got a little bit more of a loosey, nobody walks on eggshells. Maybe you do it a little bit WWE, but at some point WWE still needs those guys to kind of pass knowledge to the next generation. That's why I think it's very important that Edge came back to WWE, didn't go to AEW. I really think WWE screwed up by letting Christian go. That was a good get by AEW, but eventually, and I don't know if Punk and I don't know if Punk's the best guy to pass the knowledge on, but Daniel Bryan for sure is, in my opinion. Bryan Danielson, to me, he has so much to give to professional wrestling just from here. That I think it's an absolute travesty if WWE didn't go hard to keep that within their company. But the one thing I do want to ask you guys that I think is very, we get this comment here. I want Carlito and Melina back in WWE. I would have loved to see Carlito stay.
Yeah, 100%.
Melina, that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about, because one thing that I think deserves attention right now is the female divisions in pro wrestling. We touched on it yesterday with Ed and I. We're hitting it on so many levels with it. I'm going to let you guys talk about the female division. My hotel phone is ringing. I'm going to go answer that right now.
Yeah.
That's Spencer calling.
Yeah. It's Spencer firing him live on air. Yeah, as far as the female division goes, I think right now it's NXT has the best one. I think that's the major folly is for AEW is their women's division. They have the talent there, but they aren't giving them the stories. They aren't giving them the TV time. And they say it putting it up on YouTube, but the reason Jericho signed with AEW is because there's TV contract. The TV contract's the biggest thing. So you have to give the women a fair shot, at least more than one match a week, to show off and get their storylines across, because they have the star power there. Mm-hmm. They just need to give them a chance, and they can be printing easy money. You give Britt Baker a very long-term storyline with a great rival, it's going to be great for their company. He could be possibly bigger than what Omega's doing right now. You've got a star there, and I think it also costs them, as you're seeing more women sign with Impact, which yes, they can still go, they still do stuff with AEW, but women are I feel are more apprehensive because they don't have as much TV time in AEW than other shows to sign there.
Yeah, and it's a shame too, because there's, like you said, there's so much great talent in AEW that they could be showcasing, like a Chris Statlander. Even I believe Mel is still under contract with them. There's so much programming for AEW. You've got Rampage, you've got Dynamite, you've got Dark, Elevation. They could be anywhere, but there's only so many limited spots they can be. But on the other hand, for WWE, for the women that we see, how often are we going to see, Charlotte in that spot or a Sasha Banks in that spot? Bayley, in my opinion, has been a bit more entertaining as of late. But how long? Again, so much exposure can just do it negatively for you. There's a reason why Charlotte's been champion for so many times, and now people are just like, well, okay, give it to somebody else. Let's see somebody else in that spot.
Dara coming in. Also, do we need women's tag titles in some companies? I think some companies have too many of them, to be honest, because they're not doing anything with them. And this is exactly where I was going with this whole thing. I'll just leave that up. Sorry about that. I think WWE right now does a better job of emphasizing their female talent than most companies. I think AEW right now has an opportunity to do more, and they just haven't yet. But I think they're on the right track with a Britt Baker becoming one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling. Impact has Deonna Purrazzo, who is killing it in all cylinders right now. And then we're seeing like the Thunder Roses of, I believe she's now with AEW. So that's a huge get. Then you also have who I think you're talking about Chris Statlander, who I think probably was on that side of becoming one of the next major stars in the female division, and then she got hurt. Another one I want to bring up is Tay Conti, who I think is just an uprising star in AEW. Then also we're seeing Mickie James coming in. There is that Ring of Honor women's tournament coming in. Before we get to the Queen of the Ring, what are your guys' opinions about this tournament? Who do you guys want to see win, and who do you guys like? What do you guys expect out of this?
I'm excited by it. Like, I've been a big fan of the King of Ring tournament. I think it should be its own pay-per-view again. Like, they can have a King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring on the same night. Because it basically used to fill the void that Money in the Bank does now, whereas the winner would usually go on to have a title match at SummerSlam. It usually ended, but I like the idea of somebody having to do 3 matches in one night or 2 matches in a night, and have it see him progress through the night. I do love to see the women this gives a chance, especially if it's a longer month-long tournament, with the early eliminations, and you get to see even the early rounds, you see very good matches, and it gives weight to those smaller matches on Raw and SmackDown. They would see that a lot of times you wouldn't as much care about, but it gives some weight to them, and I do love it. Do not love the logo. It looks like designed by Drake Wirtz. Looks a little problematic. But other than that, I'm very excited to see a Queen of the Ring tournament.
Yeah, and I think it definitely could help elevate a lot of the women talent that they have. Let's stick somebody else in there. Maybe somebody that you want to bring up or you want to build, and make it a lot more different than what they do for King of the Ring. Don't just give them a scepter and a crown and send them on their way. Actually do something with them. It could be an opportunity for them to showcase someone they want to build for the fans to see them, and just take it from there. It could even have been something for in a different reality for Nikki Cross to go into, and they build her and they showcase her throughout that, and that could have led to where she is now with the title. But just doing something different with it, having different people in there, different talent in there, could definitely do it some good.
Yeah, I'm just rolling through the chat. This is getting a lot of things. Well, Cody's saying we'll call this show something like Royal Coronation. I like the simplicity of the Queen of the Ring. I think personally you won't use the name Royal unless you're having Rumble following it. But I agree with the I think the Queen of the Ring, if you want to make this special, you make sure you have as many talent presented and involved in this as you possibly can, whether you got a bracket from the NXT UK, a bracket from NXT, a bracket from Raw, a bracket from SmackDown. I think that's something I would do, and then have them kind of face off, and then maybe you have a fatal 4-way elimination, and then that final winner becomes your Queen of the Ring, kind of a real, maybe a stepping stone kind of a sequence. But yeah, it'd be I have no issue giving them a tiara and stuff like that, just kind of as the thing, but don't make it as hokey as you made the King of the Ring is with it, because you don't know if you're going to get a Booker T and really make this an entertaining gimmick. You don't know if you're going to get a Bad News Barrett or a King Barrett, things like that. You might get a King Corbin, and nobody, I think, ever wants to see that again. But with that being said, like even on the men's side, like you kind of wish they did more to the King of the Ring. With the Queen of the Ring, you just hope that, you know, like I always thought whoever won King of the Ring faces the champion at SummerSlam. That was always my thing, right? Like we saw that with Brock Lesnar against The Rock. I believe that was in 2002, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think that was the last time that really happened. And it's kind of surreal to think that Brock Lesnar was the King of the Ring champion, because imagine him wearing that crown. But as long as a presentation is proper and it elevates the winner to the next level, I think that's all you got to make sure you do. It's what I wish they would have done with the women's tag team Dusty tournament. And you would have saw that be the coordination of the tag team titles, not the stupid wishy-washy way they did it with having Adam Pearce come in and not have that proper finish to that tag match in NXT. And then William Regal's like, oh, by the way, here are new titles. Here you go. Oh, yeah, you're losing them 5 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
What the? Like, if there's the WTF moment, that's pretty much it. If there was a style of a Queen of the Ring, and hypothetically, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that we're getting as many people presented in this tournament, who is someone that you would want to see? Because my early pick would be Kaylee Ray. Not everyone at once. Lawrence, we'll start with you for the sake of progression.
Just off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of like people in NXT. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing like Shotzi get her big shot at a singles title. I'd even see it, like, to see what a Hilo Bailey would do with a Queen of the Ring when, like, I think there's just a litany of options, and I also agree, like, they should be a weight to it. I think it should lead to it works out perfectly. Like, let's say it should lead to a title match. Let's say Survivor Series. You've got a built-in main event there that has extra weight to it that you watch, as like Survivor Series or even the Royal Rumble. Like it works nicely. Like,
yeah.
You had like 2 title matches right there that have more weight to it than they did before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would be good for like a Liv Morgan, definitely showcase her a little bit more. I know she had the popularity vote for Money in the Bank, but I felt like she just needs to showcase herself a little bit more, grow just a little bit more before she's really given an opportunity at the title. And I think the King of the Ring would definitely help elevate her. And even like a Frankie Monet, if you were looking at Queen of the Ring in a gimmick sense, you could bring her up, have her win it, and really introduce her to the casual as well as the main roster with the Queen of the Ring. If you're going to give her a scepter and a tiara to somebody,
could you imagine these two being Queen and King of the Ring?
I'd love it. Me and Dexter, the ending to this weird rom-com. I love it.
Yep.
I mean, we'll just it's weird because if I was going to pick anyone on the main roster, I think Eva Marie suits this to a T. And I say that in the sole hope that they actually use this to help elevate a Piper Niven out of it. Just like when Miz was Money in the Bank, won the title, they actually slowly tried to help elevate Alex Riley. It would be nice to see something occur there. I'm not too sure, but it just seems like with this character that Eva Marie has, she would be the best suited for a queen style like this. Plus, I don't know about you, but I would love to see the queen moniker kind of be taken away from Charlotte as we slowly progress, because now that she is the 11th time, like I think 2 weeks ago she was like a 20-time champion. Now it's back to 11 because they're like, oh yeah, we don't count NXT for these main titles. It's just really like, please WWE, just keep the continuity. I beg of you. But yeah, I just think it's really interesting of a concept of what they can do moving forward. Like we see it in sports, whether you want to talk about like a new expansion team or things like that, starting fresh and trying to create something and really try to like create a new tradition, create a new iconic moment. Like it's stuff like that that's really interesting. So if you're going to do the Queen of the Ring, my hope is that you do it correctly. And when I say do it correctly, you give these matches times, you give them a platform, you make it its own pay-per-view. Maybe you don't do Evolution 2. Maybe you do King or Queen of the Ring, and you make that a full pay-per-view, or at least a network special pay-per-view where you have a couple hours devoted to nothing but all women matches. Because I don't know about you, but to me, when I see King of the Ring matches and they're not all in one night, it takes away that dynamic of that tournament for me.
Yeah, that's what I loved about the original King. Like one of the first pay-per-views I saw as a kid was the 2001 King of the Ring with Kurt Angle, and like him fighting through the entire night, having to fight 3 matches, like 2 King of the Ring matches, and then a match with Shane McMahon. And just like seeing somebody fight and struggle through a night, and like how like the fact that they might be a little banged up in the first match, it adds more intrigue to the second match because you don't know who's going to win. Like there might be an overwhelming favorite, but that person might be banged up earlier on. And like it also makes it like for an incredibly fun pay-per-view to watch entirely through.
Yeah. Alex, your thoughts on?
Yeah, they could definitely do, give that perception of like the underdog. You really want to see wrestler A win, but they got torn apart after a match or after the fact, and you've got wrestler B who is just this powerhouse that's just plowed through the competition, meet in the finals, and the story that they could tell just in that match alone, could really help build either one of them. If you've got the underdog, they've got the sympathy card being played. The powerhouse could you be showcased and then brought into that light of, man, this guy is going to wreck people on the main roster.
Sandy, I believe his name is now Kingston Nakamura.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a long name, King Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's just a long name. So I don't think he lost it. I think it's just a temporary thing. But Sandy's been on the Melina train. I cannot explain why I haven't posted this up, but she says Melina should return to WWE. At one point, the rumors were that she was back in WWE. I don't know the full story behind that. I don't know if any of you do, but it's one of those things. I would have loved to see Melina come back. Personally, I would have loved to see her in that NXT role of being kind of that veteran for the new girls coming up in NXT. That would have been very fulfilling and refreshing for me as a fan, because it would just be nice to have someone in that NXT like, okay, if you can have a good match with this person and you can learn from here, you're ready to go up now. You're ready to go to a Raw and SmackDown. I think stuff like that's important. What would you have said if Melina returned to WWE? Alex, we'll start with you this time.
To be honest with you, when she was there, I didn't really pay attention. I've heard a lot of good things. I've heard some bad things as well. But yeah, like I could definitely see her being sort of a trainer or a mentor to somebody, especially in the women's division. Or they could even bring her back and kind of put her with, John Morrison, kind of relive their M&M days, and have her tag along with the Miz and him, and maybe even help build to a Morrison Miz split and project Morrison into more of a singles competitor.
I'm only gonna say this for this. I'm just gonna make sure that I think that was correct, or at least a plan. I'm not too sure how legitimate that was. And then the funny thing is, Melina and John Morrison do have that history from the M&M days. It would be really interesting to see Frankie Monet and Melina.
Oh yeah,
Going in. Like that'd be an interesting dynamic, just right there. Only because it's WWE. They always seem to put this kind of stuff together, so why not? I mean, I know as soon as Matt Hardy came back, they put him with Edge, given their circumstances and history. Cough, cough, Lita. But but yeah, no. I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things where I think there's so much you can do with the female division. It's just in all of companies. I touched on Impact with Deonna Purrazzo. I like the fact that they're making her feel like a big champion and really teasing her against Mickie James, which I think you're seeing a lot of maybe fantasy matches outside of WWE, whereas with WWE, they're just kind of putting on what they can. I would love to see maybe all the other companies kind of try to team up and just partner up. Partner up and try to really make a platform for the women, because I think the women collectively outside of WWE, that's the only way they can compete with the division of WWE. Like, am I wrong saying that? Because I just don't feel there is one specific division outside of WWE in the female division that's better than the one in WWE.
I mean, I don't watch TNA, but I've heard a lot of people make the argument that the Knockouts are like could compete with at least the NXT roster. But like, yeah, I do like. I think they're doing like a good job of trying to partner up and try to get each talent in each show. So if you don't watch that specific show and you just happen to watch AEW, you're going to get to see this person's name, and you might follow them back to the thing. And I think that that's helping all the talent at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If they were to come together and do something, kind of like what they did with the Mae Young tournament, just showcasing all of this talent in the female division and not just in WWE, I think that could be really good to get a lot of the eyes on to a certain girl out there, or I'm sorry, woman wrestler. You could definitely get somebody to watch, somebody that they catch a glimpse of and say, oh man, she's amazing. She's an amazing talent. I want to see where she goes next.
Yeah. Drug Cody says Jordan Grace, Tennille Dashwood, and Deonna are all very enjoyable talents at Impact. I have zero argument there. I also, and that's just it. Like, I know that there's a lot of good talent at Impact. I know they have the Knockout Tag Titles, which are a lot better used than both women tag titles in WWE, whether it's the main roster or NXT. My question is, if you don't have a deep division and you don't have tag teams, like, what's the point of these tag team titles? Like, I'm hearing that they're thinking about, or they have split. I don't know, but the rumors are that they're splitting up Fire and Flav in Impact. We're seeing WWE letting go of the Iconics, like their established tag teams in the female division, and it makes you wonder, why is there tag team titles if there's no emphasis on them? And I really think that's a crying shame, because not too long ago did we have an amazing tag division, or we could have had an amazing tag division, whether you looked at Sasha, Bayley, whether it is Alexa and Nikki, the Iconics. Now you have like Natty and Tamina. I was liking the Dana and Mandy Rose. And it's like, okay, there's some substance here. With Impact, they always seem to have Jordan and Rachel Ellering, who I think is slowly finding her niche in Impact Wrestling. Dara is, and the Kabuki Warriors, like another one. I honestly think this is a time now where companies have to kind of take a step back and look at whether or not, they do have titles that aren't exactly needed in the company right now. I would love to see WWE just have one set of tag titles for the women, for the men. I don't think there is a place for multiple titles of the same caliber in a company. Where are you guys standing on that one?
You made a good point there, but I don't think they should get rid of the NXT tag titles, but I do agree they should put more emphasis. They the WWE, it's no secret, hates tag teams quite clearly. It for them, it's just a way to build them up to split them up. It's just eventually they're building them up to have them turn on each other. It happens every time. It's cliche at this point, but if they put a focus on it and build a real tag team division, I'd love to see, because it gives wrestlers because the main title could get bogged up real quick, and it gives wrestlers who might not have much to do a chance to A, showcase another side of themselves, and B, get them more television time, and gives them the higher stakes something to go after, another goal other than the title. So I agree. I think they should still be the NXT tag team titles and the women's tag titles, but they really need to start focusing more on it, because it's a waste. It is a waste at this point.
To be fair, I am going to say I am for one universal tag titles in WWE. I would love to see NXT have its tag champions. I would like to see the Raw and SmackDown titles unified. That is where I was getting at.
Yeah, okay.
Alex, I'll throw this to you. We do have just a few minutes left. I also want to just shout out to everyone in the chat who has joined us. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. This has been a very fun edition of Sunday Brunch so far. But Alex, we'll get to you in regards to the tag team title situation in professional wrestling, more or less WWE.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of on the other side of the fence. I just wish they would have one set of tag titles. The dynamic that they had, where you could be the women's tag champions and go to any of the shows, was a good concept to me. And just with all the tag teams that they had, like the Iconics or the Kabuki Warriors, or Shotzi and Tegan, there's just a lot of talent that they have that they could have kept together. But again, it's that eventual split. And it's like we said earlier, WWE hates tag teams. WWE is, for a long time, were impartial to a women's division. But now that they have it, they just kind of are being lackadaisical with it.
Yeah. Speaking of having something, Love Wrestling here has a lot of content in the next coming weeks. We'll play this little calendar here, as you'll see on coming up. We have Josh Robinson doing, I believe, the Legacy of China coming up, and then we have make sure you check out Power Out, The Mind Behind, which I believe is featuring Throwback this Wednesday. You might make sure you want to check these shows out. Turnbuckle Rewind, I believe, is talking about The Rock and Mankind. I believe that's the Royal Rumble. I could be incorrect on that one. Between Two Beards, we'll see what kind of shenanigans they are up. See how many more times they have to step in Spencer's virtual office. And we have another edition of Quizplex coming up. We got the premiere Headlock Talk podcast on Friday. That is one to make sure you stay up and watch. I know I am, so I hope you guys are too. We also have the War Report. We also have Love Wrestling Reacts on Saturday. We got Inspired featuring I believe it's Cameron Stevens, the Goose Calls, too. Make sure you check out all the great content that Love Wrestling presents to you, especially this week. It's a very busy week here. Sandy, we want Spencer. Sandy, am I not doing it for you? Am I that bad? I mean, come on.
We get it. We get it. We're not that good looking to look at, but
I'm gonna assume it's you guys are okay. It's me that Sandy doesn't like, so I'm gonna take the bullet on this one. I apologize, Sandy, that I am not Spencer.
He's clearly a Spencer burner account.
I am just the guy that defeated Spencer for the Love Wrestling Elite Championship and Money in the Bank. I'm sorry. But with that being said, I think the final thing I do want to talk to you guys about, I think it's something that is kind of maybe just kind of something that the internet doesn't seem like. It is the way that maybe Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, stuff like this. They come and one returns, one debuts on Monday Night Raw. They both lose. A lot of people are just throwing everything at the wall, unhappy about how they're booked. What were your guys' instinctual thoughts on Keith Lee returning, losing to Bobby Lashley, the WWE champion, that is, and then Karrion Kross facing Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy needing to actually cheat to beat him. Jeff Hardy also bringing back No More Words. We'll end with this one. What were your guys' takeaways on these? Because I personally don't think one loss is that big of a deal. Wait till you see what they do next. I think it's going to change an opinion. But Lawrence, we'll go to you, and then Alex will go to you, and then we'll throw out our handles before we head out. So, Lawrence, your thoughts and takeaways on
their
losses.
Like, everyone, I don't feel should be that worried if they're like, I'm not that worried about Keith Lee losing because like it was a title match against the it wasn't a title match. It was a like sort of prove yourself match against the WWE champion. It was a big match. And like the people keep saying like NXT roster get buried on the main roster. The entire main roster is made up of NXT superstars at this point. It's almost a false narrative. Yes, there are some that do stink and that for a lot of times no fault of their own just don't make it on the main roster. But at this point, there are more people who have made it. So like don't make a big deal out of one loss on the main roster. They'll be back. They'll more than likely Keith Lee will be a big star in WWE, I think. Yeah, I don't make too much of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely an advocate of the just wait and see. Kind of in the casual fans' eyes, they're going to see these guys and be like, "Oh, then why should I put stock in them?" But for anybody that knows how wrestling works, it's definitely going to be like a wait and see kind of deal. And I know a lot of people will hold like a Keith Lee or a Karrion Kross or even like a potential Bronson Reed in high regard. They just want to, they want to hold them and just kind of keep them nice and shiny as they know them to be in NXT. But once they get to the main roster, it's just they get muddled and watered down, and a lot of people don't want to see that. But again, it's just wait and see. Let's see where they go next.
Yeah, and I have time for everyone's thoughts about the Karrion Kross. Like, Jeff Hardy on main event lost to I believe it was one of the lackeys for Jinder Mahal. It's a very bad look. I'm trying to just find this in the comment, and it's a fair statement to say. Like, so I believe it's right there. Yeah, but I'll also say the last time we saw Karrion Kross, he was beating up, or he perceived to take out William Regal, and he was kind of the bully of NXT. Also, Jeff Hardy cheated to beat Karrion Kross. And then it's one of those things where I also saw Karrion Kross had the last word of this. So the emphasis was on Karrion Kross after. It wasn't Jeff Hardy, you just beat the NXT champion. What are your thoughts? It was Karrion Kross, you just lost this match. How are you going to react? Like, the emphasis and the focus was on Karrion Kross. The takeaway was, yes, that Jeff Hardy brought back his old theme song, which was amazing. It was something that the fans wanted. It's one of the two theme songs I think the fans want brought back. The other one is Broken Dreams, I believe, by Drew McIntyre. Those are the two. But again, like, if Karrion Kross needs a loss to then realize, okay, he needs to make a switch, I'll bring Scarlett in. Scarlett is the reason why he has, fought all this ambiance. I have time for a story like that. We saw it with Andrade. He went on a giant losing streak. Zelina Vega then picked him up, brought him, and kind of molded him back together to where he became an NXT champion and then an amazing talent on the main roster. Also, remember, The Rock was terrible when he first started. And now is one of the quote-unquote goats of professional wrestling and in WWE. So a little patience goes a long way, I believe. Like, it's one of those things where, you can't get all bent out of shape. Don't cry over spilled milk, people.
Yeah.
you can cry over spilt beer. That's just a party foul. But spilt milk is okay. The cow didn't die for that milk, so you're fine. Sandy asking, is Harry Smith back as an in-ring wrestler? Yes, I believe he resigned and debuted on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. Very happy for Harry Smith and being back inside the WWE. Let's forget about WWE. What we do have is we have two guys making their Sunday brunch debuts. Alex, Lawrence, I'd like to thank you guys for being a part of Sunday Brunch. Very happy just to do something with you guys individually. So that was very nice. Any last words you guys have for the audience or just in general? And where can we find you on social media? Lawrence, because we know you more than we do Alex, we'll start with you, and then we'll give Alex the main event here. Gotta put over new talent, brother.
Give me the top billing, man.
But yeah, Lawrence, take it away. Final words. Where can we find you?
Oh yeah, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at CartSandyG. Also saw in the chat, I think Dar Amazing mentioned the Dan House in the back. I stole his face. He lives in Montreal too. I'm now the most evil, most nice. Yeah. And you just follow me. I'll be popping up on different shows every so often.
Did you steal it with all your monies?
I did. I gave him 2 bags of monies.
Alex,
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can give you the big screen here because it's funny.
Don't do it. These people pay a lot for their screens and their phones. I don't want to break them.
To be fair, I don't know how.
Okay, good. Well, there we go.
I know how.
I apologize ahead of time. Yeah, if you're looking for me, I'm a cool guy. I'm on Twitter and Twitch at EctoGuy87. I'm also on Facebook. And on Steam, you can find me at EctoGuy87. I'm always on there playing some games, so if you want to hop on and join me. Still new to the Love Wrestling family, so I've got a couple things coming down the pipeline, but you can find me next week either here on Sunday Brunch if I'm actually welcome back. I'll probably also be on Blowing Off stream. I was last night, so go ahead and make sure you go back to Twitch, check that out, and yeah, never know where I'm going to turn up next.
Awesome. Just going to finish out all these comments. Ashford, thank you so much for the kind words. Sandy, it's always awesome to hear from you, and always nice seeing you here all the way from the Deutschland of Germany. See, I even know that part. I'm an Oiler fan. Leon Draisaitl all the way, right? Come on, the best German hockey player of all times. Chad, thank you so much for being a part of Love Wrestling. Also want to give one last shout out to our sponsor, RK Athletics, over there in the corner. Please make sure you give them a like, a follow, all that great stuff. I am Chris Parrish. You can find me on the internet. Hopefully it's in good taste. For that, this is Sunday Brunch. We'll see you again. And take care. Bye now. No.